BCE, the dumpster fire of the telecommunications industry. The company at its core attempts to offer broadband, internet, wireless communications, TV, landlines, satellite services, and depressing returns. But that's not all. Bell Canada Enterprises owns Bell Media, which controls Canadian TV networks like CTV and owns media assets including websites and apps like TSN. BCE is traded on the TSE, and for many years, BCE was once a solid choice for long-term investors offering both growth and sustainability. Recently, BCE's stock has dropped off the face of the earth. In the past year, it saw some ups and downs, largely impacted by the overall market volatility. But if you look at the long-term trend, it's been a steady performer all the way back to 2008 prices. BCE is considered a blue chip stock, meaning it's generally seen as safe and reliable. However, even with these unbeatable returns, the average investor will quickly forget about any potential losses when they see BCE is known for paying out a juicy dividend. BCE pays out almost a 12% dividend yield, which is pretty solid compared to other telecom stocks. Along with a history of increasing its dividend regularly, BCE is a fan favorite among dividend investor strategists. BCE's most recent meltdowns occurred in June 2023. They slashed 1,300 jobs and shut down 9 AM radio stations. Then, in February 2024, they one-upped themselves by laying off another 4,800 people and shutting down an additional 45 radio stations. Gutting its workforce, declining revenues, and new government regulations all aiding in the squeeze on their empire. In September 2024, BCE generously handed off its 37.5% stake in Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment to Rogers for $4.7 billion. Who needs ownership in profitable sports teams when you're too busy bleeding cash? And in November 2024, BCE made the genius move of panic buying US-based Ziply Fiber for $5 billion. How does BCE stack up to its competitors? Short answer, it doesn't. As of today, AT&T is trading at $26.62, Verizon at $42.76, and BCE... AT&T and Verizon have their own problems, but at least they aren't setting records for worst performing telecom stock. BCE is basically the Titanic of Canadian telecoms, except the iceberg is itself. Comparing BCE to another telecom company in the garbage is like comparing this season's San Jose Sharks to the Chicago Blackhawks. Both companies have seen their fair share of pain, but while BCE is on a full-speed downward spiral, AT&T has at least attempted some damage control. AT&T's stock is at $26.62, still low, but better than BCE's. BCE has a higher yield, but AT&T has at least kept its payout stable after the whole Warner Media disaster. BCE, on the other hand, keeps shelling out cash while its stock value crumbles, which makes you wonder how long before they slash dividends just to stay afloat. AT&T made a mess of its media empire, but has since pivoted back to focusing on telecom infrastructure. Meanwhile, BCE is hard at work selling off assets, firing employees, and buying up questionable US companies. If you're choosing between a dumpster fire and the weird stuff that builds up in a bathtub, ask yourself, do you want a struggling telecom that might recover, or one that's actively setting itself on fire? So, should you invest in BCE? Pros. If you enjoy never sleeping again, watching your portfolio implode, the endless void of uncertainty, not knowing if you will ever achieve financial freedom, success, or retirement, aimlessly pondering your life choices until the certainty of death knocks on your doorstep, then BCE has you covered. Also, they technically still pay dividends, until they don't. Cons. Stock prices crashing, layoffs everywhere, questionable business moves, and a shrinking market share. Not exactly a recipe for success. Look, if you love taking financial risk and enjoying the thrill of possibly losing your money, BCE might be your next adventure. But if you prefer stability and actual returns, you might want to look elsewhere. All jokes aside, a real investor is one who can identify opportunities, and as blink as BCE has looked over the last 5 years, you might want to consider the idea that this stock can make a turnaround. As Buff Daddy once said, be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. The question is BCE on the road to recovery, or is it a lost cause? As with any investment, before you decide to put all of grandma's generational wealth into BCE, do your own research and understand your risk tolerance. Okay, bye.